Okay, so today we're going to be creating a session host AVD agent module. So AVD agent. So this is going to join your virtual machine over to Azure Virtual Desktop so that you can properly see it in as a session host within your host pools. So let's call it resource. So we are going to need, since this is going to be referencing an existing virtual machine, we're going to use this. Oops. I'm actually forgetting the provider for this. So let's just go and use the one we have over here. So let's use this. Quote it, and let's use existing. And the name of it, we need an existing session host name. Param string. Param location string. Param tags object. And we're going to need the session host AVD agent. And this is going to be virtual machines / extensions. And we need the parent construct. And we can name this session host AVD agent. Tags is tags. Location. Properties. And then the publisher will be Microsoft. Type. And then this is desired state configuration. Type handler version is 2.73, and then I actually don't know where this exists right now. So we're gonna look it up. As you guys can see, the module's URL is 2022. I found a few different ones. We're going to use the 2023 URL and make that a variable, since that shouldn't be changing unless we find out there's a new module that was updated. Okay, so we're going to use modules URL. We can use auto upgrade minor version. Let's just set that to true. We always want this to update. Settings. What is the settings? And the module's URL is going to be configuration is going to be, and these settings are basically telling us how are we going to install it. So this is, we're going to be calling configuration ps1 and use add session host. Registration host pool token, and we're going to make this a parameter. So we do need that token over here. So let's call it param host pool token is a string AD join, and since this is an Azure AD joined machine, we are going to need this. Which is a Boolean statement. Is it true or false? And for us, the default is going to be true. Let's go ahead and do a format here. Save it. And then let's go back. To the main bicep. On a previous video, we commented this video out. What we're going to do now is we might need some outputs over here. VM.name. VM.id. Alright, so now we can go back over here. Call the module we just created. And I personally like to spread things out as much as possible. So if I'm going to create an AVD agent, I'm going to go ahead and put it in a different scope than the VM. I know typically people do it that way, but I like to do it on a different scope to simplify things. Just makes things easier. Call this AVD agent. And we're going to put this at the scope of the resource group, and the resource group name in here. And why are you yelling at me? Let's just do a VM name. And now we do params. And what do we need here? We need the location, tags, host pool token, which is going to be out of the host pool dot outputs dot host pool token, and then we're going to do session host name. We can do virtual machine outputs. I know we already have the parameter, but just trying to teach you guys how. this looks here. And we don't need AD join, we already know that. Next thing we gotta do is we gotta make this one more module over here, which is AD join, Azure AD join. And we're gonna do the same thing we did for the AVD agent, which is this here. So we're going to call the existing virtual machine. We don't need this or this or this. We're going to call it VM name instead. All right, and now we need the AD join extension. Go and use the extension here. We're going to call the parent and then existing virtual machine, and then name is going to be AD raw join. All right. Location is location. Tags, tags. And then we got to put in the properties. And since this is created by Azure, this is pretty straightforward. Azure Active Directory, Azure AD login for Windows, and then we can choose to upgrade. So, and then we're likely going to need this to be deployed after something else, or the AD login, the AD join, excuse me. And then let's type cases to camel, rename, and proper camel casing. And then this is going to yell at us now, so name, VM name, AD join, dash, and then date. We're going to do scope, params, locations, location, tags, tags, VM name is VM name. Okay, so now we have everything, including the virtual machine and then the extensions that's going to make it connect to the session host pool. And I think we have enough to go off of. Let's see if we need any parameters, and it doesn't look like we do. Ah, yes. I'm going to go ahead and use the VM virtual machine output. That way we don't have to do the depends on. I just like the way this looks better. And now we can try this out. Deploy, VM deploy, VM and extension deploy. Let's see how this works out, guys. Azure Labs, WestUS 3, and then no parameters. Parameter file, excuse me. Looks like it liked it enough for it to be validated. We're going to pull up the deployment. and now it's deploying everything including the VNet. The host pool should give us an OK, and yes it did, because we're not deploying it again, we're just seeing if it exists. And now VNet is giving us an OK. Workspace. And you see that it's added this application group over to the workspace. Everything seems to be connecting together now. The Azure AD join is now being deployed. This is created, and now we just gotta wait for the session host. So once this is deployed, the session host agent, it'll show up in our host pool over here. Once we get that over here. So now this is still getting deployed. Great, that just finished. Let's see if it's liking what we gave it. Okay, so now we can check the status of it. Over here at the VM level, extensions, and we see that session host AVD agent still going through. This one takes a little bit longer than the others, so we'll just give it a second and we'll be right back. Okay, it looks like we missed one step here. We need to give the host pool name. Okay, now this is going to yell at us. And then just to make things quicker, we are going to deploy like this. And the error I was seeing was host pool name is missing. So we need to add that parameter. And let's make sure that we have it exactly how it states. I believe this might be correct. Let's try it again. And we'll be right back. Alright, so we redeployed, and it does look like this might be case sensitive. So let's make that H a little bit bigger. And let's redeploy. digging, it looks like I might have put my parameters in the wrong spot. So we're going to go and put properties instead of settings, which is a property within settings, and then putting the host pool name within it. So let's see how that works out for us. And changes here to put under properties, and it does look like these things are going through, because if we look over here, it is rebooting VM to apply DSC configuration. So it does look like these settings went through. We're gonna go and check back here in a second. Cool that this did get added. We might have to make some changes here because it is not a domain joined machine. Digging here, it does look like we have to try this. Validation environment, yes. We'll try this again in just a moment. Here, validation environment true did fix our issue here. So next things up is go ahead and try to sign in here. So with Azure Virtual Desktop, Azure VMs do have it MFA enabled, and because this account has MFA enabled, we're going to have to create a new account without MFA enabled. And just for this demonstration, we're going to say ask later. We don't want MFA enabled, just for the sake of this lab here. 14 days should be sufficient, otherwise we can just make a brand new one. Let's click allow. Let's go ahead and assign at the subscription level. Add role assignment. See if it picks it up. So virtual machine logon. And we're going to assign it to account B. Select, review and assign. Go back here. desktop virtualization user, account B, view and assign. And then we're going to give it admin as well. Alright, let's see if this worked. Here we have a logged in virtual machine with a brand new user that's AD joined. So the steps to deploy this were the steps for permissions were to add it to the application group and then add these three permissions in order for it to work, which are the virtual machine user logon, the desktop virtualization user, and virtual machine administrator logon. Doing Azure AD domain joined VM. We can also use domain services as one option, but Azure AD is more simple, a simple lab environment to deploy. Otherwise, we can use conditional access to sign into the VM. And we can go over to CMD and write in who am I. You can see Azure AD account B. It's an Azure AD joined machine. And then we're using the account name account B. Importantly, we got to make sure that this setting over here is enabled, otherwise it will not work. You guys aren't gonna find this stuff anywhere else. It's target AAD joined. If you don't have this, it is not gonna work. Comment, subscribe. Appreciate it.